The winter night arrived without drama, yet it carried a weight that settled over the city slowly. Snow began falling earlier than expected, thick and unrelenting, coating streets and sidewalks in quiet layers. Traffic thinned, lights dimmed behind windows, and the city's usual noise softened into distance. Cold pressed into the air with patience, the kind that doesn't rush but doesn't leave either. It was a night that asked people to stay inside. It did not ask politely. Out in that cold, Muhammad Ali moved carefully through streets that no longer felt familiar. There were no crowds, no bright lights, no cameras waiting to catch his movement. Fame did not bend the wind or slow the snow. The storm treated him as it treated everyone else, without recognition or pause. In that moment, he was not a champion. He was simply a man navigating winter. Each step required attention. Ice hid beneath fresh snow and balance could not be assumed. Breath came out in visible clouds, steady but deliberate. The cold worked its way through layers of clothing, persistent and exact. Ali understood endurance, but this was not the endurance of competition. This was the quiet endurance of exposure. The streets felt longer than usual. Familiar routes seemed altered by the storm's presence. Buildings looked different under snow, softened and distant. The night carried a stillness that felt isolating rather than peaceful. Even the sound of passing cars had disappeared. The city had turned inward. Ali had spent much of his life surrounded by noise, applause, arguments, celebration, criticism, all of it loud and constant. That night offered none of it. The absence was noticeable. Without sound pressing in, thoughts had more room to surface. The cold made sure of that. He passed houses with lights glowing warmly behind curtains. Warmth was visible, but unreachable. Doors remained closed, not out of unkindness, but caution. Storms narrow circles of trust. People protect what they have when conditions turn harsh. Ali understood that instinct well. Snow collected on his shoulders and melted slowly against fabric. The night demanded humility. Even if it did not announce that demand, control was limited here. Plans shifted without consultation. The storm set the terms and everyone else adjusted. Ali slowed his pace, conserving energy. Experience had taught him that rushing in difficult conditions only wastes strength. Calm movement mattered more than speed. The night rewarded patience, not force. That lesson arrived quietly. Fatigue crept in gradually. Not exhaustion, but the steady reminder that shelter mattered. Cold drains focus without drama. It doesn't attack, it persists. Ali became aware that the night could not be outwaited indefinitely. He scanned the street for options, not recognition. Shelter was the priority now. Somewhere warm, somewhere safe, somewhere human. That hope guided his steps more than destination ever could. The storm intensified, snow falling heavier as the night deepened. Wind moved through streets in low, steady currents. Visibility narrowed. The world shrank to what was immediately visible. Everything else faded. Ali paused briefly beneath a streetlight, its glow diffused by falling snow. The light made the night feel quieter, not brighter. It revealed how empty the street had become. The city had retreated fully now. He thought about how quickly circumstances can change. One moment, everything functions as expected. The next, certainty disappears. The storm did not care about preparation or status. It treated everyone equally. Ali adjusted his coat and continued forward. The cold stiffened fingers slowed movement. Muscles tightened against the temperature. The body keeps its own account in moments like this, quietly recording effort. He reached a stretch of houses clustered close together. Windows glowed softly, curtains drawn. The warmth inside felt close enough to imagine, yet distance remained. Approaching someone's home requires trust on both sides. Ali hesitated, not from pride, but respect. Interrupting someone's night is not easy, even when necessity demands it. The storm pressed that necessity forward without apology. He chose a house at random, guided more by instinct than logic. The path to the door felt longer than it should have. Snow crunched underfoot, loud in the quiet street. He reached the steps and paused again. The knock was firm but gentle, not urgent, not demanding, just a request shaped by circumstance. The sound echoed briefly, then disappeared into the house. Time stretched in the waiting. Cold reclaims space quickly when movement stops. Ali shifted his weight, breath steady, eyes on the door. He did not know what to expect. The door opened slowly. Warm light spilled outward, cutting through the snow-filled darkness. An older man stood there, surprised but calm. He looked at Ali without recognition, only assessment. There were no questions at first, no hesitation heavy enough to close the door again. The man stepped aside and gestured inward. Shelter was offered simply, without explanation. Warmth rushed outward, immediate and undeniable. It wrapped around Ali as he stepped inside, easing tension from muscles and breath alike. The contrast between cold and comfort felt overwhelming for a moment. Inside, the house was modest and quiet, nothing extravagant, nothing prepared for guests. Yet, it felt safe. That safety mattered more than comfort. The door closed behind them, shutting winter out. Snow and wind remained outside, separated by a simple barrier. Inside, the storm lost its authority. The old man offered a seat, a blanket, a warm drink. There was no ceremony. Kindness moved efficiently. As if practiced, Ali accepted with gratitude that needed no explanation. They sat quietly at first, allowing the storm to fade into background sound. The house settled into stillness. The night slowed down. Conversation came naturally, without effort. Simple topics, ordinary experiences, work, weather, life's routines. Ali listened more than he spoke. There was no need to perform. The old man spoke of endurance shaped by years, not victories. His stories carried no ambition, only persistence. Ali recognized that kind of strength immediately. Silence filled spaces between words comfortably. It wasn't awkward, it felt earned. The kind of silence that forms when people feel safe enough to rest inside a moment. That night, fame never entered the room. Names carried no weight, titles did not matter. Two people shared space as equals, shaped only by circumstance and kindness. The storm continued outside, but it no longer defined the night. Inside, warmth and quiet held steady. Something meaningful was unfolding without either of them naming it yet. By the time morning approached, snow had softened. The world outside began preparing to wake again. Inside the house, the night's quiet lessons lingered, settled deeply and without demand. This was only the beginning. The change had not announced itself yet, but something irreversible had already taken place.